My name is Bryce Hansen with Remax Ocean Pacific Realty and the Bryce Hansen team of the Comox Valley. I'm joined with local mortgage specialist Dave Robertson from the Royal Bank of Canada. And I've been hearing a lot of questions coming towards me as, you know, Dave, what does it mean with the new changes coming in January?
So the changes that are coming in January, it means there's a qualifying rate for all buyers now. In the past, as of last October, it was only people with less than 20% down. But as of January the 1st, 2018, all buyers have to qualify at a stress test rate, which is 4.99%, or people with 20% down more either have to qualify at that rate or a contract rate with an extra 2% basis points on top of that. So in whichever the greater of the two. So that's what it means for buyers. They have to be qualifying at a higher rate. They can still buy a house, it just may not be the same house.
Okay. Dave, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but one of the questions I do have to ask is, do you see these changes making any drastic changes in the real estate market?
I think for the first few months, until we sort of get used to the idea of what this is all about, I think we'll see a bit of a slowdown. But I think overall, I think Canadians are cautious consumers. Once they understand what's happening, I think in the Comox Valley, I think we'll be okay. Vancouver, Toronto, different market where you can't buy the same amount of house for the same amount of money. I think we'll be fine here.
Cool. What challenges or complications do you see in the real estate market come January?
Bryce, I don't think really there's going to be a whole lot of challenges or change other than the initial shock of people trying to figure out what it's all about. But after that time, I think it's going to be pretty much business as usual for the Comox Valley anyway.
Nice, perfect. So if I had a pre-qualification, would this affect me come January?
Yeah, unless you have a firm approval by your bank, then the rules change. You have to requalify in the new year with whatever the new rules are. So it's imperative if somebody's sitting on the fence or is about to purchase a home, I think if they were to get a firm approval pre-December 31st of this year, then they're guaranteed. So if a person's got some concerns, now's the time to be buying a house.
Oh, okay.
And at Royal Bank, we do offer a firm approval.
That's right. Yeah, that's great. I've also been questioned from lots of people fearing that they're going to need larger down payments. Okay,
well, yes and no. With the rules changing, and I think back to last October, where a person buying a $300,000 house after the changes only qualified for $250,000, so they could either come up with more money down, or they just bought less of a house. They can still buy a house. It just maybe is in the same amount, so they don't necessarily need more money down. They maybe have to just change their parameters of what they're looking for.
Oh, okay. So Dave, while I've got you here, I've got a few industry questions that I feel are pertinent questions that I said when I often work with buyers. My first question is are you guys pre-approved for a mortgage?
Okay.
Do you guys have similar questions that you guys asked or that you look for when you're dealing with first-time home buyers? What are some of the things that people can look forward to now rather than when they're coming to sit down?
When I interview with my clients, the clients are asked to bring with them documentation, income confirmation via their tax returns, both T1 generals and notice of assessments, having their current pay stubs. If they're a self-employed individual, we want 2 years worth of tax returns, confirmation of where the down payment is coming from, so a 90-day history. And if it's a gifted down payment, then there's a gift letter that gets signed and they prove that they've got the 90-day history. But in doing that, we've gathered all the information so that we can give them a firm approval as opposed to a list of you're pre-approved with a list of things. We're going to give you a firm approval.
Right.
So now a person's going out buying a house knowing they can afford it.
Okay. Right? And when I'm talking about CMHC, is another question that I get asked quite a bit. CMHC rules, like how does that roll into play? And I know you guys have that in Genworth that you guys have for insurance companies.
So this question I get asked a lot from clients, and it's more so about who is CMHC? What do they do for me?
Yeah.
Right? And so traditionally banks will do financing if you put 20% down or more, and we call that a conventional mortgage. Less than 20% down, we go through the government CMHC, Genworth, who is a private company, and Canada Guaranteed, and they basically will guarantee that if the client doesn't make the payment, they pay the bank out. So it's called default insurance, and there's a cost for doing that. With 5%, they charge a 4% fee right now. 10% it drops, 15%, and when it goes to 20%, it just goes away.
Great. Yep.
So the good thing about it is they allow them to put that into the mortgage and spread it over the 25-year period of time. So it's just a cost of buying a house if you don't have 20% down or more.
Great. Yeah, no, that sounds great.